Back to Burning the Pages, the show where I look at stories I wrote as a teenager and make fun of them as an adult. Last time we looked at the first 2 episodes of my magnum opus, Elite Senshi. It was completely unoriginal. Essentially, it was a shitty Sailor Moon ripoff for the first half, and the second half, it was awkward filler. Today we're moving on to the 3rd episode. Luckily for us, this is only just 1 episode this time. Though if you thought the last story was poorly paced, oh viewers, you are in for a treat. Episode 3 is so much worse. Not because it's badly written, it's boring in comparison. I won't be giving out that many writing tips for this episode as I'll mostly be riffing it. And this is because episode 3 is just filler, which your story shouldn't have in the first place. Anyway, we open up on a recap of the last 2 episodes.
Last chapter, Keira, an ordinary teen, found out she is the chosen one to defeat evil creatures of Grimm, a planet of death and destruction.
Whoa, wait. Death and destruction? Nobody died in the last episode. What are you talking about, narrator?
She and her friends Chii and Junko were given supernatural powers. There are many more battles to come, as well as allies.
Wow, this is the worst prologue I have ever read. This is so vague that it seems more like an abstract rather than a prologue. A prologue should fill me in on events that took place in the previous chapter or book. This, on the other hand, summarizes nothing. I feel like it's one of those things that you would read on the back of an anime DVD from the 90s or the early 2000s. A better summary would be this. Kira's an ordinary teenager who thinks she's edgy because she uses the words hell and damn when she meets Touji, a weird shapeshifter. She discovers she has magical powers and comes from the planet of hearts. Kira is also one huge Mary Sue as she stumbles into a talent competition, doesn't even register, and somehow she makes it into the live broadcast. Along the way, she finds out her childhood friends/cousins are also magical girls, and they do stuff with water, ice, sound, and whatever the fuck Junko's supposed to be. See, that's better. Anyway, our story opens up on Grimm through Koli's perspective.
Koli stood at a dimensional mirror that showed everything that was going on Earth.
First off, creepy. Second, the word on is used in the sentence twice. Also, there doesn't need to be a comma between on and Earth. Spell check. You heard of it? The rest of the opening paragraph in the story describes Koli's magic mirror, which almost feels like a toy commercial.
He could look up any person, and the dimensional mirror would show him that person. He can also teleport through it too. Yes, you too can own Koli's magical teleporting mirror from the hit series Elite Senshi. Buy now and we'll give you a second Koli's magical teleporting mirror absolutely free. Only $19.99. Buy now. Let's go back to the story.
I will have my revenge on the 3 of them. They will pay.
Revenge? On who? You were the one who ran away from the battle in the last episode. Anyway, we find out from the scene that not only is Koli a coward, but a stalker. He also practices tarot, except that's not how tarot cards work.
He sat down at a table with a navy blue tablecloth and a deck of tarot cards. He asked them,
How should I plan my revenge?
He shuffled the cards and placed 3 cards in front of him. The cards told him,
Since everyone is full of positive energy, he should make the 3 Senshi feel negative so they can surrender their power.
Okay, I have to go on a somewhat related tangent as I do have background in tarot. Look at this desk right here. I have a lot of different tarot decks. Tarot doesn't have definite answers. You can ask the tarot whatever the fuck you want to ask, but you're never going to get straight answers. You can ask the tarot who you're going to marry and you may get the Page of Cups, which probably means that you're going to find someone who's creative and curious, but that could also mean that you're going to marry a struggling artist and not someone who's financially well off. Tarot is less about fortune telling and more about intuition, as the card descriptions can be very vague. Anyway, the scene just ends and we jump to Keira on the phone with Junko as they rehash the end of episode 2.
Yes! I'm gonna be on TV!
That's great, so am I. This is gonna be so much fun. Too bad for Chii. She didn't make it.
I feel like I'm living a teenage fantasy.
Keira's cell phone beeped. She checked the screen.
Junko, I have to call you back. I have someone on the other line.
No problem.
Keira switched lines, and she heard Kame's voice as soon as Keira said,
Hello?
How come you made it?
Made what?
Oh my god, Kira's an idiot. What a shocker.
You made it into Japan Idol. You're not even that good.
Kira's free hand gave the finger, then quickly set her hand down.
Ooh, Kira's super edgy because she gave the finger over the phone. What fucking sense does that make? Also, what was the point of quickly putting her hand down? Was she afraid that Kame might see it?
So, I'm guessing you didn't make it in?
Oh, I did. And I'm going to win, of course. I just heard from a little birdie that you made it true.
Wow, word gets around fast in this universe. Wasn't the audition yesterday? Anyway, Keira finds out that Deidara was the one who told Kame about the competition, and this makes Keira very angry.
The next day, Keira tracked Deidara down. She found him at the locker bay for the high schoolers reading a motorcycle magazine.
Why did you tell Kame out of all people?
Keira demanded without a hello or anything. Because this was necessary to point out.
What? No pleasant greeting.
We aren't friends! Do you go around spoiling every TV show?
No, it's just Kame and I are very close and I tell her everything.
Reader, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that before these two characters get together, that Deidara is dating Kame. Oh, how I wish that was the truth. In fact, it is never explained the relationship between these two characters. As for Keira and Deidara's relationship, you see, I used to have a thing for two characters starting out hating each other but would later become a couple. And this plot thread would work if Elite Senshi was told in a linear format so the reader could understand how these two characters got together. But it's not. Instead, it's unstructured, so by the time these two characters get together, it's very confusing and very awkward. Speaking of awkward storytelling, apparently Lil Edge got bored with the story as she was writing it, as the story jump cuts from this scene all the way to Japan Idol's dressing room.
The next night, Keira and Junko were in the dressing room for Japan Idol. Touji, Kira's shape-shifting cat, who is now in his human form, was cheering the two girls on. Chii was with them as well.
I'm so nervous.
I'm not. The only thing I'm worried about is if an enemy attacks us here.
I have something for that. If you're ever alone and facing on an enemy and need support, I installed communication devices to your transformation items.
Mine's a pen, so how do I talk on it?
I'll show you.
He gestured her to give him the transformation pin. Then he told it.
Contact Junko.
The pin beeped, and a small light flashed red. Junko's pin started violently beeping.
Violently beeping, huh? Are these characters the only ones in the room? How come no one else can hear this? Oh wait! Maybe it's because they're from Hearts and they have supersonic hearing or something. So, what do I do? I don't know. That sounds like a really hard question. Ooh, I'd like to phone a friend on this one. Oh, wait. I don't know how to. Maybe if I... Is it like this? Or maybe I'm supposed to eat the phone.
Answer it.
Press the top button.
Junko pressed the top button on the pin.
Hello?
See? It works like that. It also knows when your conversation ends. So, need of shouting, hang up.
How does it do that?
That's Heart's technology for you.
Next up is the soon-to-be R&B singer, Satomi Hanu.
Oh my god! Oh, yeah, I forgot we're backstage of a talent competition. But of course, there's nothing indicating space in this story. And no, this isn't me paraphrasing. This is exactly how the story was written. So for all we know, the MC could be hiding in the closet, which is really creepy. Moving on, we're introduced to a new member of the Elite Senshi, Satomi. Buckle up because it's gonna get real bumpy.
A girl with long black hair, who wore a brown furry hairband with false animal ears, and wore what looked like a fake animal tail, was worn on her jeans.
Nice ears.
Then continued walking on stage.
What a weirdo.
Hey Edge, now would be a really good time to explain to the viewers how exposition works. 'Cause you know, this is a show about writing.
Good idea, manager. Exposition. It's tricky to write because you don't want your characters to come off like complete idiots, but at the same time, you don't want to reveal every single detail. With exposition, especially in writing, you need to be subtle. If If I were to rewrite this story, I'd probably do most of this chapter through Satomi's perspective, to clue the readers in that this character is important. Next, I'd correlate Satomi's animal attire to the story. Maybe she's seen Touji in her dreams and considers him a spirit animal. Perhaps by wearing fake ears and a tail, she feels more connected to him. This way, Satomi doesn't come off as weird and the story connects. Instead, this is how the story handles this plot thread, by kinda sort of acknowledging it, but not really asking any questions until several paragraphs later.
Junko looked at him confused.
Touji, I'm confused. How come Keira's mom, Kame, and the other people in the studio can see your ears, but Keira, Chii, that girl, and I can?
I'm a little confused too, since only magical beings can see my ears and tail.
I'd like to point out that the word confused was said 3 times in this one section. At 15, I had a very limited vocabulary.
But the ears and tail is your body.
When I was sent to Earth, I and 3 other guardians like myself casted a spell on ourselves to make our animal abilities disappear to the ordinary human. Only people from hearts and magical beings can see them.
Are you suggesting that girl could be one of us?
Or she could be an enemy.
Oh wow, where have I seen this before? Oh yeah, this is a retelling of a Sailor Moon episode! Remember the episode where Sailor Mercury's introduced? Again, this makes Touji look like a complete dumbass. The way to fix this is through exposition. If I were to rewrite this story, I would give Touji a little more depth. In this version of the story, Touji knows who all the Elite Senshi are, but he's a bit socially awkward, which is why he doesn't approach these characters right away. Maybe because the Elite Senshi can sense each other's presence, they would be the catalyst awakening Satomi's powers. Now, if I wanted to make it more believable that Touji got a negative vibe from Satomi, here's how I'd fix this. Perhaps Satomi wasn't an original Elite Senshi on Hearts. What if she is an offspring of Rubia, and like the other goddesses, she has no recollection of her past life? And if I wanted to make Satomi a reformed hero, I'd make her a minor antagonist to the series. I'd get into details on how I would do that, but it would take away from all the important stuff from the story, because remember, we're in a singing competition.
After the girl named Satomi sang, the judges gave her their opinions.
This is another awkward transition as there's no indication that Satomi went on stage, let alone sing. This is probably because when I was 15, I had no idea how to write a scene that involves a stage performance. So similar to the exercises we did in the last episode, I want you to watch this performance and tell me in your own words, what do you see? Now, I muted the clip on purpose so you can build your own character from this example. I want you to write what kind of voice do you think the singer has. Do they have a liquid and soft voice similar to an R&B singer? Or do they have a harsh and raspy voice like a rock singer? What kind of instruments do you see on stage? Is there a karaoke track? What kind of movements is the singer doing? Is there a band? What is the band doing? Now I want you to look at these POV shots. What expressions do the audience and the judges have? Do they like the singer? Are they dancing to the rhythm of the song, or are they just simply watching? I think this exercise is a bit harder to write since it mostly has to do with sound, which is hard to translate on the page. I think the best way to approach this type of scene is to first listen to a lot of music and watch a lot of live performances and really observe how movement and sound work. If you haven't already noticed, most of my writing is based off observation. Anyways, Satomi's performance is evaluated by a panel of judges.
I think you're a bit bitchy, especially in the end.
I think you're a loud singer, not $1,000,000.
Your song choice, but you made it sound fairly simple and yet so complex at the same time. I like you. Wow, what a weird sentence.
Let's vote. No.
Yes. Matsuro, your turn. Yes or no?
The bald guy thought about it. The crowd desperately wanted her to go through. Satomi's hands clamped hard on the mic in fear.
You know, I know what 15-year-old me was going for when it comes to this scene's tone, but this is not how you evoke emotion. The scene feels incredibly rushed, and I feel bored reading it. So Satomi makes it to the next round, and Keira and company decide to befriend her.
You were really good.
Congratulations!
Touji said, trying to ignore the fact that she knew he was a magical being.
Thank you. Just a random questions. Why are you wearing animal ears?
Chii, that's one question, you idiot.
What are you talking about? They're real.
Great. Our new member of her team is psychotic.
And for once, Keira and I are on the same page.
Chii took off Satomi's headband and showed it to her as she said,
See? They're fake.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is Exhibit A on why Chii is the worst character in this series. I wouldn't mind this character so much if she was a prissy, stuck-up character like Weichni or Cordelia Chase, but the thing about those characters is they got better over time. They start off as being obnoxious, but eventually grew up and started being likable characters because they're protagonists. Chii, on the other hand, stays like this from the beginning of the story to the very end. And if you thought the part about technology in this universe was boring, get comfy, because this next part will put you to sleep.
Don't judge me. I'm a furry.
Furry?
It's a person with a love of humanistic animals and identifies themselves like one.
You mean like Sonic the Hedgehog?
And Bugs Bunny?
Yep.
Next up is Junko Chibiya, singing a popular song by 21.
Ooh, a K-pop reference. This gives the story cool points, right? Actually, believe it or not, at least since she's full of pop culture references, both K-pop and American. I skipped over a lot in the past episode, but episodes 1 and 2 are a motherload of pop culture references. Before Keira becomes a magical girl, she's watching Glee, which at the time the story was written was my favorite television show that wasn't an anime. Chii sings a Justin Bieber song for her audition for Japan Idol because the friend that Chii's based off of also loved Justin Bieber. And Keira's celebrity boyfriend is Adam Lambert, who was my celebrity husband at the time. Though in the Elite Senshi mythos, he's referred to as a Radikazumi to make him seem more Japanese, because at the time, I thought music wasn't very widespread. I was a dumb kid. Anyway, same shtick with Junko. There's no description of what her performance was like or what song she sang, and the story just jump cuts to the judging panel.
When Junko finished her song, the judges fell in love with her voice.
That song was so beautiful.
I'm not a huge K-pop fan, but you made me on. Good job.
At first, I wasn't sure if I liked your voice because I thought the music was overpowering. You were a bit flat, but you made up for it at the end.
I vote yes. What do you say, Fumiko?
Yes. Gordon, what about you?
Yes!
The forging judge said.
The what?
The forging judge said.
Can I hear that again? I didn't quite catch that.
The forging judge said.
What the fuck does that mean? Well, I kind of glossed over this part, but you know how in episode 1 there were points in the story where Little Edge would just give random physical descriptions of characters? Well, get this. This guy doesn't have a physical description, but it's explained that he's a foreign judge who speaks Japanese and English. Except that one sentence, I didn't bother looking over my spelling. That's what smart people do. So Junko makes it to the next round, but uh-oh, looks like some evil shenanigans is about to happen.
Another 5 people made their way backstage. One of them looked really suspicious. A man with dark piercing eyes looked meanly at Keira, Junko, Satomi, Chii, and Touji.
So I had to look up if meanly was a word or not, and apparently it is, though it sounds very stupid. Words like suspicious or piercing are bold words that evoke a tone. Meanly sounds juvenile. But if you thought that sentence was dumb, take a look at this paragraph.
Does that man look familiar?
No. Why?
I mean, look at his hair. It's the same color as Koli's. It's blue like the ocean, and his skin looks like he has been in the sun for decades.
I'm pretty sure it's a look-alike.
Oh boy. The technique of idiot heroes not knowing who the villains are was funny in the 90s Sailor Moon anime, but it's the 21st century. Get some advanced character tropes.
Chii was trying to be social with the contestants. She came up to the man with piercing eyes.
So, what's your name?
Dawn.
That's a strange name. Are you from around here?
No, I come from Russia.
So, what music do you like?
Metal.
Well, at least Dawn has some taste. So, what bands are you into, good sir?
Oh, you know, Five Finger Death Punch, Limp Bizkit, Cannibal Corpse, Suicide Silence, Rage Against the Machine, My Chemical Romance.
Alright, get this fucker out of here. I thought you had some decency.
Oh, EdgeLordess! My favorite singers is Andy Darris and Peter Steele!
You're still horrible.
Aww. Oh.
Chii thought she wasn't going to get along with him, since he is the polar opposite of her.
Did I mention I want to strangle this character?
Wait, EdgeLordess! I just want to let you know that my favorite Halloween song is War Pigs! What's so funny?
Oh my god, Chii, you really are an idiot.
War Pigs is by Black Sabbath. I'm not even a metalhead, but this is just Music 101.
Well, I'll be quiet now.
Anyway, now, where were we? Oh yeah, Kira's next to go on stage, and I'm skipping over that scene because, as we all know, she makes it through. After all, she is a Mary Sue. Then, shortly afterwards, it's the mysterious Dawn's turn to go on stage.
Satomi, Chii, Junko, and Touji hugged Keira and congratulated her. After the group hug was over, Dawn pushed Keira aside.
Huh?
Out of my way.
Chii looked at Dawn with an angry but worried look on her face. She also sensed no good would come from him.
Next is Dawn Holiday.
Dawn had his own microphone. It was black and had a spiked rim. Before he sang, he transformed into Koli.
Wow, who would have guessed that? I just thought that Dawn was some wannabe edgelord, but I guess he was the villain all along.
Now your souls are mine.
He began singing a scream as the audience, judges, and contestant covered their ears in terror.
Koli!
I knew it!
You know him?
Well, yeah, let's just say he isn't a nice guy.
You gotta do something before he sabotages the whole show!
Chii, Junko, follow me. Touji, stay with Satomi-chan.
Keira said as she ran off to somewhere safe to transform. Chii and Junko followed her.
How come Satomi's not questioning why her new friends are abandoning her? My god, these characters are stupid.
Transform Elite Senshi! Orange Goddess Power, Makeup!
Purple Power! Make up!
Blue Power, make up!
Girls transformed into their elite Senshi uniforms and ran back on stage. The audience was no lifeless, and Koli still had his signature evil grin.
Stop right there, Koli. The Elite Senshi are here to save the day. Orange!
Blue!
Purple!
Goddess will punish you.
I see my spirit stealing spell doesn't work on you. But that's okay. I have something in store for you.
Okay. Either I'm missing something, or Koli's just as stupid as everyone else in this story. Wasn't Koli supposed to kill off the Elite Senshi? Did he suddenly go blind and not realize that his targets are right there in front of him?
With a snap of his fingers, a loud screeching noise filled the room as a spirit monster emerged.
I feel like my ears are bleeding.
The spirit monster was a giant, the size of a 13-story building. He grabbed all three Senshi, and then it ate all three of them. Then they all died. The end.
I wish. So Satomi's watching her new friends get beaten up, and we find out...
Touji noticed Satomi's halter top showed a tattoo of a red heart on the back of her neck.
Could she be another Senshi?
The heart began to glow.
She is one!
Then he passed her a red transformation pin.
Satomi, use this and shout Red Power Makeup!
Why?
I'm with Satomi on this one. Why does Keira get to say whatever comes to her mind when she transforms? But why can't Satomi?
No one has ever changed the world by doing what the world has told them to do. 420 blazing! I'm not throwing away my shot. Red Power Makeup!
So Satomi transforms for the first time and helps the other three Senshi.
Prepare to be burned in the fires of my wrath!
How about later? Ta-ta, Senshi!
You know, Koli's the most confusing villain I've ever seen because anytime he says a line of dialogue, he's contradicting himself. So Satomi saves the day, and the elite Senshi do a group attack that's poorly paced just like in the previous episode.
Fire, blaze, cut!
Blue eyes, bubbles!
Purple starlight flash!
Magical melody!
A magic light turns to monster into dust. The people were revived, confused of what just happened. The Senshi did a brisk escape.
Thanks for saving us, Satomi.
We really owe you one.
It was no big deal. I mean, I was raised by wolves and I've seen humans get ravaged all the time. It's just an ordinary Tuesday for me.
At the end of the day, the episode of Japan Idol had concluded, and the Senshi now included 4 members.
And then the story just stops. So, that was Elite Senshi Episode 3. It's not as enjoyable as the first 2 episodes. I feel like episodes 1 and 2 was a litmus test for bad writing tropes, with its themes of sexual assault, love, and becoming a magical girl. But episode 3 doesn't have a focus. It doesn't know what it wants to do. Does it want to focus on the competition or not? Also, Satomi and Koli's character just don't make any sense. In the next installment of this series, there's going to be a huge time leap. Refer back to episode 0 about my weird non-linear storytelling methods. But there's a 5th member of the Elite Senshi introduced off-screen. It's never explained on how this character discovers her powers or anything. She's just there. That does it for this episode of Burning the Pages. Tune in next time.
People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's going to be a fine night tonight. It's going to be a fine